The stargazers promised Nadia Jensen, adjusted her holographic star charts. Fingers dancing through constellations unknown to most humans. The observation deck of interstellar research vessel Artemis offered the best view of the Andromeda approach. But tonight she wasn't charting stars, she was waiting. The human who maps the impossible, a deep voice said from behind her. Nadia turned to find a tall figure silhouetted against the doorway. Even in shadow, there was no mistaking the elegant posture and subtle iridescence of skin that marked him as Viridian. Commander Vel. I was beginning to think diplomatic protocol would keep you away. Terran Vel stepped into the light, his amber eyes catching the glow of distant stars. Viridians were rare enough in human space, but one serving as a diplomatic envoy was unprecedented. Protocol suggests I shouldn't be here, he admitted, moving closer. The geometric patterns etched into his blue-tinged skin shifted subtly with his movements, but curiosity about your discovery outweighed caution. Gestured to the small container on her workstation. It doesn't look like much, as the most powerful things rarely do. Terran's voice carried a musical quality that most translation devices couldn't capture. The artifact had appeared during a routine survey of an abandoned space station at the edge of the Cygnus Rift. Small, crystalline object, no larger than her palm. Yet inscribed with mathematical equations that defied current understanding. It responds to you? Terran asked, maintaining a respectful distance. Yes. Watch. Nadia placed her hand over the crystal. It illuminated, projecting equations that spiraled around them both. It's some kind of key, but to what? I can't tell. The Council of 13 believes it's connected to the ancestral gates. Terran's admission hung between them. They've sent recovery teams to claim it. Recovery teams or elimination teams. Nadia's eyes narrowed. Terran's silence was answer enough. Why warn me? Because, he said, stepping closer, there are patterns in your star charts that match symbols on the artifact. Patterns only a Viridian should recognize. His fingers brushed against hers, causing the crystal to pulse brighter. Our species are more connected than either government wants to admit. The station alarm blared suddenly, red emergency lights flooding the deck. They found me faster than expected, Terran said. The recovery team? Your people or mine? Both. Nadia quickly secured the artifact in its containment field. There's an unmarked shuttle in Bay 7. Do you trust me, Commander? Terran studied her face. I've spent my life navigating political currents between worlds. Dr. Jensen, trust is a luxury I rarely afford. And yet, you're here. Warning a human you barely know. The faintest smile touched his lips. Perhaps that's why I'm here. Nadia grabbed his hand, surprised by the warmth of his skin. Then I make you this promise, Terran Vel. Whatever this artifact is, whatever it connects us to, we'll discover it together or not at all. His fingers tightened around hers. A dangerous promise, stargazer. The best ones always are, she replied, leading him toward the emergency exit as footsteps echoed down the corridor behind them. Whispers across the void, the unmarked shuttle cut through the darkness of space, stealth systems barely masking their heat signature. Nadia's hands moved confidently across unfamiliar controls, courtesy of years spent in simulators studying alien craft. They'll track us through the artifact, Terran said, monitoring the rear scanners. His tall frame looked uncomfortably cramped in the human-designed cockpit. Not if we mask its energy signature. Nadia pulled a specialized containment case from her pack. Something I developed after first contact with the crystalline structure. Terran watched her work, amber eyes narrowed with curiosity. You anticipated having to run. I anticipated needing options, she corrected, sealing the artifact inside. The pulsing glow immediately dimmed. Tell me about these ancestral gates your people believe in. His expression shifted, becoming guarded. They're considered myth by most. Portals created by those who came before both our civilizations. Pathways between worlds, between realities. And this is a key? Nadia gestured to the container. Part of one, perhaps. Terran's fingers brushed against the intricate markings on his forearm. The patterns you mapped in the Cygnus sector, they match ancient Viridian texts, describing the location of one such gate. Their shuttle lurched suddenly, caught in the gravity well of a small, unmarked moon. Perfect, Nadia murmured, guiding them toward its dark side. We can hide in the magnetic interference. As they entered the moon's shadow, emergency power engaged. The cabin dimmed to conservation levels, casting them in an intimate glow of instrument lights. Nadia felt suddenly aware of their isolation, just the two of them, fugitives between worlds. Your career, your life on Earth, you've sacrificed them, Terran observed quietly. Why? Nadia's hand stilled on the controls. Because some discoveries transcend political boundaries. Because your warning proved you felt the same. In the darkness, his bioluminescent markings glowed faintly. Among my people, such alignment of purpose is rare and valued. Something in his tone made her turn. Their faces were inches apart. Despite his alien features, she recognized the expression in his eyes, the same wonder that drove her across galaxies. The artifact responded to both of us, she whispered. That can't be coincidence. His hand moved toward hers, hesitant. When their fingers touched, a spark of energy passed between them, making them both gasp. The artifact, Terran said, voice rough with surprise. It's changing us. Before Nadia could respond, proximity alarms blared. A massive ship dropped out of hyperspace directly above them. Imperial Viridian cruiser, Terran identified, expression darkening. Sentinel class. Friends of yours? The opposite. They serve High Counselor Draven. His jaw tightened. My brother, Nadia stared at him in shock. Your royalty? I was, he corrected, reaching for the controls. Until I discovered what the Council plans to do with the ancestral technology. A transmission cut through their communications system. A voice similar to Terran's, but colder. Spoke in flawless English. Brother, return the human and her discovery, and perhaps I'll grant you mercy. Terran's eyes met Nadia's, an unspoken question in them. She answered by firing the shuttle's thrusters, diving beneath the cruiser's belly toward the moon's surface. Together or not at all, she reminded him. His smile was both grateful and sad as he took her hand. Together then, stargazer. Echoes of trust. 3 weeks later. Nadia crouched in the shadows of the crowded marketplace on Vex's Prime, a border world where species from across the galaxy conducted business without asking questions. Her once pristine uniform had been traded for practical leathers that helped her blend with the mercenary population. The artifact remained secure in its container, strapped against her chest beneath her jacket. She'd lost Terran during their desperate escape from his brother's forces. Their shuttle had been forced to separate into its emergency pods when the cruiser's tractor beam locked on. His last transmission had been coordinates this marketplace, this date. Every face in the crowd was a potential threat. Both Earth Federation and Viridian Imperial forces had posted substantial bounties for her capture. The artifact's energy signature, though dampened, still pulsed against her skin like a second heartbeat. You keep touching your chest, said a gravelly voice beside her. Drawing attention, Nadia turned to find a hunched figure in a dusty cloak. Not Terran, this being was squat, with skin like weathered bark. I'm looking for someone, she replied cautiously. The Viridian prince. It wasn't a question. They took him to the mining colony on Detrian. Few returned from there. What? Her blood ran cold. How do you know this? The figure lifted a gnarled hand, revealing a small symbol etched into the palm, the same pattern that appeared in her star charts and on the artifact. Either are those who have protected the knowledge of the gates for generations, the stranger explained. Your discovery has awakened forces long dormant. I need to find him, Nadia insisted. The prince chose his path when he warned you. Now you must choose yours. There's no choice, she said firmly. I made a promise. The stranger studied her, then nodded slowly. The next transport to Detrian leaves at moonrise. I can secure your passage. Hours later, disguised as a maintenance worker, Nadia infiltrated the mining colony's processing center. Prisoners worked the drills below, extracting rare minerals from the planet's unstable core. She spotted him among the workers' thinner. His skin dulled from lack of sunlight, but unmistakably Terran. The proud diplomat reduced to a laborer. Because of her. Because of their shared discovery. When shift rotation came, she slipped into the prisoner barracks, heart pounding as guards passed inches away. She found his assigned cell and overrode the lock with tools provided by the mysterious ally. The door slid open. Terran looked up, disbelief washing over his features. Nadia, he breathed her name like a prayer. She rushed to him, arms encircling his weakened frame. I found you. His hands trembled as they cupped her face. You shouldn't have come. It's too dangerous. In answer, she took his palm and placed it against the container where the artifact rested. It flared to life, illuminating the small cell with patterns that danced across their skin. It's been calling to you, she whispered. I could feel it. Terran's forehead touched hers, their breath mingling. Every day I felt you searching. It kept me alive. The connection between them intensified, not just physical, but something deeper. As if the artifact was merging their consciousness. His memories flowed into hers childhood on a world with twin moons, years of diplomatic training. The moment he first saw her name on reports about anomalous star patterns, the gates he murmured against her lips. They weren't built to separate worlds, but to unite them. Her fingers traced the patterns on his skin, feeling them respond to her touch. Like us. When their lips finally met, the artifact pulsed between them, sealing a bond that transcended species and worlds. Shadows of the past. Ancient temple rose from Kaldor Ivy's misty surface, like a monument to forgotten gods. Weathered stone mixed with technology so advanced it appeared organic, pulsing with faint energy despite millennia of abandonment.
Oh.
The coordinates were correct, Nadia whispered, clutching the artifact that had led them across 7 systems. Through blockades and ambushes, beside her, Terran traced the familiar patterns carved into the massive doorway. These matched the markings on the oldest Viridian temples. Our creation myths speak of visitors who taught us to harness the stars. Earth has similar legends, Nadia replied. The artifact reacts to both our biological signatures because our species share a common ancestor, Terran finished. A truth both our governments have suspected, but suppressed. Their escape from the mining colony had made them the most wanted fugitives in 2 empires. Only the network of ancient believers. Those who protected knowledge of the gates had kept them one step ahead of capture as they approached the central chamber. The artifact grew warm against Nadia's skin. Its glow penetrated her clothing, matching the pulse of light emanating from the center of the room where a circular platform stood. The gate Terran breathed. Before they could approach, a slow applause echoed through the chamber. From the shadows stepped a tall Viridian with elaborate markings of imperial rank. Behind him, both Viridian and human soldiers formed a semicircle, weapons trained on them. My wayward brother, said High Counselor Draven and his human companion. How predictable that your shared idealism would lead you here. Terran pushed Nadia slightly behind him. This technology belongs to no single species. Precisely why both our governments agreed to destroy it, Draven responded coolly. Imagine the chaos if ordinary citizens discovered our shared ancestry, millennia of racial superiority doctrines undone. You're working with Earth Federation? Nadia asked, stunned. Of course. Did you think it coincidence that both our species evolved with compatible biology? That our languages share root structures? The gates created us both, seeded from the same source. Draven gestured toward the soldiers. Your Federation fears this truth as much as our council. Terran's fingers found Nadia's, squeezing gently. Through their connection, enhanced by the artifact, she felt his intention before he spoke it. The artifact is only part of the key, Terran said. Without the activation sequence, the gate remains dormant. Draven's expression hardened. Which you will provide, you can't, Nadia interjected. The sequence isn't information, it's biological. The artifact has been changing us, preparing us. She felt Terran's surprise through their link. This was a truth she'd only recently understood herself. The gates respond only to those who approach in unity, she continued. Without hatred, without division. Draven's laugh was cold. How convenient. Then perhaps watching one of you suffer will motivate the other. He raised his weapon, aiming at Torrent. In that moment, the artifact flared between them, its energy surging outward in concentric rings. The soldiers stumbled back, temporarily blinded. Tehran pulled Nadia toward the platform. Now or never, Stargazer. Their hands clasped tightly. They stepped onto the ancient gate. The artifact's crystalline structure began to dissolve, its essence flowing into their joined hands, tracing luminous patterns across their skin. What's happening? Nadia gasped. Single Quotes' eyes met hers, filled with wonder and fear. We're becoming the key. Beyond the stars, the gate awakened beneath their feet, ancient machinery humming to life after eons of dormancy. Concentric rings of light spiraled upward around Nadia and Tehran, their joined hands now glowing with the essence of the dissolved artifact. Draven and the soldiers recovered, firing weapons that dissipated harmlessly against the energy field surrounding the platform. The sequence was never about activating a weapon, Nadia realized. Watching the patterns from her star charts materialize in the air around them, it was about reconnection through their enhanced bond. Memories not their own flowed between them, the ancient civilization that had seeded both their species across distant worlds. Their hope that someday their children would reunite and reclaim their shared inheritance. They wanted us to find each other again, Tehran whispered, his free hand caressing her cheek. Not as conquerors, but as equals. The chamber trembled as the gate's energy intensified. Beyond the platform, holographic images appeared, dozens of worlds connected by the same network, populated by variations of humanoid species, all descendants of the same source. You can't do this. Draven shouted over the rising hum. The political implications are exactly why it must be done, Tehran responded. Our peoples have been kept divided by lies for too long. The gate required a final choice. Nadia felt it through their connection, the pathways opening before them, the knowledge becoming accessible. If we complete the activation, she said to Tehran, we become the messengers. We may never return to our former lives. His amber eyes held hers, the patterns on his skin now perfectly mirrored on her own. My life began the moment we made our promise, Stargazer. Together or not at all, around them. The soldiers wavered, weapons lowering as the holographic history unfolded, irrefutable evidence of their shared origins. Playing out in ancient scenes, they're seeing the truth, Nadia whispered. And so are thousands of others, Tehran added. Gesturing to the pulse of energy shooting upward from the gate, the network is reactivating. Broadcasting across both our empires, Draven fell to his knees, the imperial markings on his skin resonating with the ancient patterns, forcing recognition of a truth his position had required him to deny. The final sequence awaited only their decision. Nadia looked at the man beside her, not Viridian, now in her eyes, but simply Tehran. The other half of something she hadn't known was incomplete. A new beginning, she said, reaching up to trace the luminous patterns on his face. For all of us, he agreed, leaning down until their foreheads touched. When their lips met, the gate completed its activation. Light engulfed them, transforming them into beings of pure energy for one breathtaking moment, before re-solidifying their forms changed. Enhanced, unified, as the light receded. They remained standing on the platform, their hands still joined, but now permanently marked with intertwining patterns that neither species could claim as solely their own. Around them, soldiers from both worlds lowered their weapons completely. Many reaching out to each other in tentative recognition, Tehran turned to his brother. The walls between our worlds are falling. Will you help rebuild what comes after, or cling to the old divisions? Draven looked from his brother to the human woman who now shared the sacred markings of his people. Then, to the human soldiers who stood in confused awe. The Council will resist, he said finally. As will Earth's Federation, Nadia added. But the truth can't be contained now. Tehran's arm circled her waist, drawing her close. The journey ahead will be difficult. She smiled up at him, feeling the pulse of the gates connecting worlds across the galaxy, worlds waiting for them. To bring the message of reunification, The best journeys always are, she replied, echoing her words from when their adventure began, especially when you travel them together.